Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is Revere Sky's essence. Peace and blessings to all. Peace and bliss, that is. Um, let's talk about Divergent. Okay, so I did get a chance to watch Divergent. Beautiful being on the comments page. Uh, Hit me to it. I've heard of it before, and I also follow a channel called Divergent. Okay, and that channel talks about so many ancient things, you know, and it keeps your mind open to nostalgia of 300 and 400 and 500 years ago, supernatural things, ungoverned energy and technology, right? So finally, since I watched the show, something told me to look up the term too, and it means there's a difference in somebody's agenda, basically, or point of view or scope, and you divert from it. You don't agree with it, you challenge it. That's being a divergent. So, in this movie, Divergent, the girl had to run series of tests in this construct, and in that construct, the test is supposed to, the computer is supposed to actually come up with an algorithm and tell the people grading her which section she belongs in. And in that process, the computer could not come up with a box to put her in. So the lady that was running her test felt bad for her and felt for the girl's safety. She told her to go home and never come back because she was a divergent. And she was like, no, that can't be right. Something about the test or whatever. The thing about this is, it reminds me of when I was 18 years old. And, I partied so much, had so much fun. I felt like I wanted a little bit of discipline. I was on my own. And I went to join the military. So I went to a recruiter. And plus I lived in a military town, so it was just common for everybody to go to the military. So I went to go take a placement test. First, the man weighed me and took my height. After he weighed me and took my height, I did a placement test. He told me that I passed the placement test, but I was overweight. Now, me being young and naive and not knowing what was really happening, I told him, I said, I'm 5'9" and I weigh 155 pounds. How could I be overweight? Like, flat stomach, everything. I just had some hips. You know what I mean? I've never had booty, but I had hips. And I was like, oh, and I had breasts. I was a C cup. So I'm like, what do you mean I'm overweight? But I was too young and naive to understand that they could not tell me the truth. So it reminds me of Divergent. As I got older, around about 24, 25, 26, I realized that it wasn't that I was overweight. He could not tell me that I wouldn't obey. I wasn't obedient. You couldn't put me in a box psychologically. Okay, you couldn't program me, brainwash me, and get me to do inhumane things to other people in other countries. So this placement test is really a psychological test. And it's certain things that you answer on the test that lets them know if you're going to obey them in the military. If you're going to put up with the bullshit, right? So Divergent is the same way. So I reflect on my life and I'm like, wow, they actually couldn't put me in a box. And what, I was 18 then? Let's see, 28. That was 16 years ago. So if 16 years ago, psychologically, you couldn't put me in a box, and I was running the streets, just imagine the level of my brain now. So to see this girl have to fake it and downplay her life psychologically so that she even said it in the movie, either I gotta, if I move too fast they'll kill me, if I move too slow I'll die, so I have to be a certain speed at what these people monitor about me so that I can survive and live. Do you know how crazy that is? She's in this construct, mentally being challenged, and she found the key to keep her out of it, and she can't do it. It reminds me and it makes me reflect on my dreams and why sometimes I toss and turn and can be a bit restless, even though I get all my sleep. Don't get it twisted. I don't, my job does not put me in a position where I got to be up at a certain time. I got to do this. No, no, no. I can be up all night, not sleep, and still go to sleep for 8 hours. So I'm not ever putting myself in a position to where I'm fatigued. The thing is, sometimes I have to wait to certain hours to sleep because I don't want my conscious extracted and put into a construct. Okay? There's been many simulations and tests they've run on me. If people listen to my videos, they know I've been in places where I've seen children and all types of stuff where they have those virtual reality goggles on and they're swinging baseball bats, shooting basketballs, and I'm allowed to observe these facilities. They allow me to observe these facilities. I don't know why. Okay? There's been times I've been in situations where they've had me in sexual acts and I can actually feel the sensation in real life. I don't know how they're able to synchronize my neurological self with my actual physical body while I'm in a construct somewhere else inside of another body. Somehow transferring your conscious can actually physically sync with your real life vessel. I have no clue how they do it. They just know how to do it. And I've been in plenty of skits, plenty of roles. I've been around some prominent and dominant people that I don't care to disclose their names, why they run these psyops on me, I will never know. But Divergent helped me to realize that the reason why they put us in these constructs and they test us is to see psychologically, where are we going? Spiritually, where are we going? the reason why they don't get rid of us so fast, even though they know we will rebel against their agenda, is because they're trying to use us in a premeditative way. And what do I mean by a premeditative way? They're trying to use our tactics and our ways and our reactions to compromise multi-millions of people. That's right. So if they know if I can jump up and fly every time a gang or a mob try to run up on me, right? I mean, like when they put me in the construct and I jump up in a tree and they're looking like, hey, boss, how she's able to jump up in this tree? Well, she's a real, I can't even define that type of energy, but they can't do it, but I can. So I can't define it, but there are certain laws in physics that I'm not bound to if the body is fully available. Nothing's shut down. No DNA in this body is shut down. I can access all parts of it. So they know this. They know this. Okay. So when I watched the Divergent, when the man asked the woman, "How did you break that glass?" I'm the same way. I don't have to watch the tank fill up with water. I can shatter the glass where else somebody else might drown. Okay? It all boils down to this. They experiment with people at this degree and level psychologically because they want to take the techniques to protect them from the other millions. So they're going to run constructs on millions of people. Okay? And when they run this construct on these millions of people, they're going to use superheroes like myself and take the data from what I did and prevent you from doing it. So they're going to take a person that's openly able to maneuver with the mind, and they're going to register and record and take all the data they can take from me when I go to sleep. And they're going to use that data to prevent you from ever seeing or activating that part of your mind. Does that make sense? So when I go through that tossing and turning at night, frustrated, sometimes not feeling at peace or at one with nature, because they are using the devices and the cell phone towers to rob me of my data and my quantum physics, the way my mind moves, and deviate me off my path. Like I say, there was times I would meet up with celestial beings and fly and learn new upgrades, right? But as soon as these smartphones got smarter and these cell phone towers got stronger, they would just cipher my consciousness and take it somewhere else. But guess what? I know how to opt out of it. That's right. If I'm in a loop in my brain, which y'all would call a dream, and they just keep looping me or trying to torment me, I just wake up. And I noticed in Divergent, the girl, they would say, "Man, we had you in the simulation and you were supposed to be in there at least 20 minutes, but you were only in there 3 minutes." He's like, "What's going on? How were you able to finish the construct," which they call a simulation? How was you able to finish that simulation in 3 minutes and nobody is in there less than 20 minutes. Same goes with me. I've been doing this forever. If I'm in a dream or if I'm in a loop and I do not agree with it, I wake up. I've trained myself to wake up. They look forward to me going to sleep. Just like I said, when I was, how old? Right before I went to California, I was explaining in one of my old videos, as soon as I go to sleep, they transfer my consciousness to another body, and the man kissed me on my cheek and say, welcome. They have been extracting us for as long as these smartphones have been available. But I have been practicing military tactics since I was 14 years old. So, but they were extracting our conscious in a more voodoo-ish way. They were not extracting our conscious as easy as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. They were extracting us into constructs more like a glass ball. You know how you got the magician, the wizard, or whatever. They was extracting us at a more metaphysical approach versus a more technological approach now. So I recommend, if you have not watched Divergent, you should really watch it. It can open you up to why you are in certain dreams and constructs now. They are using AI to actually put you in different scenarios. And then they also have people like you and me, and some are half robot, to audit you and say, I wonder what would happen if we put you on this. So it was this guy. He had cancer. He was dying. Okay, he actually died. But they had me in a dream with him. They had me in a truck, but it was moving like, you know how you could be on this track. You know, you could be at one of those carnivals or fairs, and you get on this ride, and it rides you around on this track, and this track goes left, right, this, that. So they had me in something like a truck, but it was on a track. The windows were rolled down. The guy was in the truck with me, the one that was sickly. They got me on the track. We're riding around, and I noticed when I'm turning the steering wheel, I can't turn it. So then I realized I was in Looney Tuneville. I was like in this carnival like setting. And the track, you know how Florida rivers and stuff are, they're black, like they're creeks and shit. The water is black. It's just black, okay? It don't flow or nothing. It's just seemed like somebody dumped poison in the water and it killed everything. Well, anyway, the swamp water is very black. But so we get to the end of the track. The track runs out. Boom. Somehow it throws the whole vehicle into the water over the pier. So what do? I'm that go-getter. What do? I see that he's drowning. He's going under. I grab him. I snatch him up. I bring him to the top of the water. There was a boat at the pier. So I pull myself up in the boat. And I pulled him over the boat. And then I pulled us up to the pier. And all they could do was remind me of the Divergent part when she was trapped in the water and she tapped the glass and said, "This is not real." But at the same time, understand that construct that they put me in when they had me on the track and threw the vehicle into the water, they were auditing me, assessing me to see my spike levels, my panic levels, to see my frustration, my fear, to see that I need to call home for mommy or rescue. You don't think they were shocked to see me in this murky black water? Not only did I save myself, but I saved him too. Understand that these mind simulation constructs are real. Okay? They are beyond. They have been grading and reporting and vetting me for a very long time. Okay? And I think the only reason why they spare me the way they do is because them analyzing my frequency and the way my mind is expound is to prevent millions of people from ever accessing those channels in their brain. It's just something to think about. So yeah, Divergent is a very good movie, and it opened me up to a lot. There's some more stuff I'm going to expound on, but those were two key things. When I joined the military, and I'm sure they still got those records, like by me making this video right now, somebody is going to say, okay, let's go pull up Grant records to see exactly what she had on that placement test. Because at 5'9", 155 pounds, I was supposed to have been in the military. Okay? I was fully functioning, active, young sport. Okay? Not only that, when I got my CDLs and went to Utah at 23 after I did 5 years of college, I was on the bus with this short Caucasian woman that was overweight. And I said, where you headed? She said, oh, I got recruited to the military. I said, but aren't you overweight? She said, they said that they were willing to help me lose the weight. That's exactly what she said. She said they were willing to help me lose the weight. And that's when I realized that it was not about my weight. It was about that test. And that test proved that I was not the one to try to brainwash. So know this. I think really everybody should watch Divergent, because if you can't be brainwashed or put into a box or a sector, if you can't be coerced into believing this is the mission, this is the goal, this is what you go for, and you don't question anything, they will love you. They will keep you. It's not about race or anything. Now, on the other hand, different races, different genetic makeups have different activations and different energy spikes. So since melanated beings have different energy spikes, and we put off a different atomic structure, they have to keep that dormant too. Okay? Because there's levels to our psyche that can put us on a quantum physics level that's so extreme to the point that their supercomputers cannot keep up with us. So that's why they put so many chemicals in the food. They took us away from nature. They gave us jobs and money to deviate us from exercising that right. Okay? Because it's available to us, but every time we don't access it, every time we don't utilize it, every time we put toxins in our body or is exposed to a level of some level of toxin, it corrupts our cellular structure, our kernels, and we're not able to use that data at high speed. We're not able to access those levels and channels, okay? We're not able to access those dimensions within our DNA. So, I don't think this is for everybody. This is only for a few people. I just thought that I would elaborate on my life with the movie Divergent, okay? And yeah, it's really something to think about. Just know this: you're going to always go along with the master or the program, your massa. You're going to always go along with the scope if you're not willing to be self-sustained. Being self-sustained is the number one goal to actually showing a level of leadership and not always following. But remember this: no matter how much melanated people say, hey, how you doing, king? How you doing, queen? Everybody can't be a king. Everybody can't be a queen. You have to realize that in that process, you're going to have doctors, lawyers, farmers, politicians, all of that, right? Not only that, question education. Education should be teaching you about the anatomy of the body and how herbs collaborate with the body, how the times and the seasons collaborate with the body, right? That's the first thing a human should learn, is how to heal the body rapidly. The next thing the human should learn is how to build their own shelter. Why all the animals create their own shelter, but humans have to pay for shelter? It doesn't make sense. Not only that, so it's health, shelter, and then food. Food. Probably, I got to get the pyramid right, but it may be food, shelter, then health. Because it's hard to keep your health up if you don't have food and shelter. Okay? And then after that, it comes money. And after money, it comes relationship. So in a kingdom, in an animal kingdom, money would be like territory, turf. Okay? Making sure all the plants and the vegetation is still in order. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just know that if you can't be self-sustained, and the only way you can operate is through the unseen, the unknown people pulling the strings, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. Sometimes you have to sit back and say, wait a minute. Let me try to get myself in order on my own. Like, take that money and invest it in your own self-sustained ability, okay? You have to. Because if you don't, it causes you to be stuck and trapped in a cycle that you really don't want to be trapped in. One last thing. Gangs of New York. Now, when somebody mentioned that video, I thought it was going to be like some actual new shit. But this is talking about all the pilgrimage that came, all the people that came from the European countries, China, or wherever, right? When they came, they all was fighting for land and turf. But while they were all fighting each other in that little civil war, the British was waiting to gang up on them. So the people with the most power and technology are the people that's going to gang up on you, molding you and shaping you. that's when you have to realize and identify, like, am I really supposed to be going with somebody else's agenda, or am I actually supposed to be living my own life? Because there's always some gossiping news that's trying to divert you and construct you into a reality that's not real, trying to discipline your psyche, trying to govern your mind. That's why they call it government. Just don't forget, these constructs are real. And now that they have access to the cellular phone, the smartphone, they can piggyback off your streaming data from your body, your thoughts, your mind, your patterns. So there we have it. Unearth the magic. The truth will definitely set you free. Mwah.